This video is proudly sponsored by Exter, the world's largest smart wallet brand. As we proceed with the video, we shall tell you more about this amazing brand.
Meet Africa's current longest-serving president, Teodoro Obiang Nguema. Hello, Explorers! Welcome to another informative video presented to you by The Explorer, and thanks for watching. In this video, we shall take a look at Africa's current longest-serving president, Teodoro Obiang Nguema. Teodoro Obiang Nguema was born on the 5th of June 1942 and is an Equatorial Guinean politician who has been the second president of Equatorial Guinea since August 1979. He ousted his uncle Francisco Macias Nguema in an August 1979 military coup and has overseen Equatorial Guinea's emergence as an important oil producer, beginning in the 1990s. Obiang was chairperson of the African Union from 31st January 2011 to 29 January 2012. He is the second longest consecutively serving current non-loyal national leader in the world, after Muammar Gaddafi. Obiang has been widely accused of corruption and abuse of power. In marked contrast to the trend toward democracy in most of Africa, Equatorial Guinea is currently a dominant party state, in which Obiang's Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, PDGE, holds virtually all governing power in the nation. The constitution provides Obiang sweeping powers, including the right to rule by decree, effectively making his government a legal dictatorship. In this video, we shall examine his rise to power and its effect on his people so far. If you're new here, welcome! Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Early years. From a family of the Esangui ethnic clan, he was born in the town of Acoacán, belonging to the then province of Spanish Guinea in the region of Spanish Africa on the current border with Gabon, with the Continental Equatorial Guinea. Son of the Gabonese Santiago Eneme Obama and María Mbasogo Ngui, Obiang was the third of 10 brothers, among whom also the National Security Delegate Armengol Ondo and former National Defense Minister Antonio Nguema. Obiang's parents immigrated from Gabon to avoid paying capitation taxes and take advantage of the good economic situation in Spanish Guinea. After the death of María Mbasogo Ngui, Obiang and his brothers were raised by his father and his new wife, Carmen Mikue Mbira. Education and formation. Obiang completed his first studies at the Cardinal Cisneros School Group in Ibebeyin and at the La Salle Center in Bata, now the Enrique Nvo Okembe National College, where he obtained a degree in labor administration. Obiang joined the military during the Equatorial Guinea's colonial period and attended the General Military Academy in Zaragoza, Spain. He achieved the rank of lieutenant after his uncle, Francisco Macias Nguema, who was elected the country's first president. Under Macias, Obiang held various positions, including governor of Bioko and leader of the National Guard. He was also head of Black Beach Prison, notorious for severely torturing its inmates. Presidency. After Macias, Obiang's uncle ordered the murders of several members of the family they shared, including Obiang's brother, Obiang and others in Macias' inner circle feared the president had become insane. Obiang overthrew his uncle on August 3, 1979 in a bloody coup d'etat and placed him on trial for his actions, including the genocide of the Bobi people over the previous decade. Macias was sentenced to death and executed by firing squad on 29 September 1979. A new Moroccan presidential guard was required to form the firing squad because local soldiers feared his alleged magical powers. Obiang declared that the new government will make a fresh start from his uncle's brutal and repressive regime. He granted amnesty to political prisoners and ended the previous regime's system of forced labor. However, he made virtually no mention of his own role in the atrocities committed under his uncle's rule. The country nominally returned to civilian rule in 1982 with the enactment of a slightly less authoritarian constitution. At the same time, Obiang was elected to a 7-year term as president, in which he was the only candidate and was re-elected in 1989, again as the only candidate. After other parties were nominally allowed to organize in 1992, he was re-elected in 1996 and 2002, with 98% of the vote in elections condemned as fraudulent by international observers. In 2002, for instance, at least one voting district was recorded as giving Obiang 103% of the vote. He was re-elected for a fourth term in 2009 with 97% of the vote, again amid accusations of voter fraud and intimidation, beating opposition leader Placido Miko Abogo. Obiang's role was at first considered more humane than that of his uncle, but by some accounts, however, it has become increasingly brutal and has bucked the larger trend towards greater democracy in Africa. Most domestic and international observers consider his regime to be one of the most corrupt, ethnocentric, oppressive, and undemocratic states in the world. Although opposition parties were legalized in 1992, the legislature remains dominated by the PDGE, and there is almost no opposition to Obiang's decisions within the body. There have never been more than 8 opposition deputies in the chamber. The opposition is barely tolerated. Indeed, a 2006 article in Der Spiegel quoted Obiang as asking, "What right does the opposition have to criticize the actions of a government?" The opposition is severely hampered by the lack of free press as a vehicle for their views. There are no newspapers, and all broadcast media are either owned outright by the government or controlled by its allies.
Hello Explorers, remember we said at the beginning that this video is sponsored by Exter. Exter is an ultra-slim trackable smart wallet that can hold up to 9 cards, and along with some cash, you can easily access your cards with just a push of a button. This wallet comes with a slim solar power tracker which fits so perfectly in the wallet and can be connected to your phone, so you have no worries about losing your wallet because it can easily be traced with the help of the smart tracker. This wallet comes in 9 different colors. Dear Explorers, we highly recommend this wallet, which is why if you use our discount code which is linked in the description of this video to purchase this super sleek wallet, you get a 20% discount. So Explorers, what are you waiting for? Click on the link and upgrade your wallets.
Controversies. In July 2003, state-operated radio declared Obiang the country's god, with all power over men and things. It added that the president was in permanent contact with the Almighty and can decide to kill anyone calling him to account and without going to hell. He personally made similar comments in 1993, and ironically, his uncle Marcius had also proclaimed himself a god. Obiang has encouraged his cult of personality by ensuring that public speeches end in well-wishing for himself rather than for the Republic. Many important buildings have a presidential lodge. Many towns and cities have streets commemorating Obiang's coup against Marcius, and many people wear clothes with his face printed on them. Like his predecessor and other African dictators such as Idi Amin and Mobutu Sese Seko, Obiang has assigned himself several creative titles. Among them are Gentleman of the Great Island of Bioko, Anobon, and Rio Muni. He also refers to himself as El Jefe or the Boss. In 2008, American journalist Peter Maas called Obiang Africa's worst dictator, worse than Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. Abuses. Abuses under Obiang have included unlawful killings by security forces, government-sanctioned kidnappings, systematic torture of prisoners and detainees by security forces, life-threatening conditions in prisons and detention facilities, impunity, arbitrary arrest, detention, and incommunicado detention. The few private media outlets in the country are largely owned by persons close to Obiang. Freedoms of association and of assembly are severely curtailed, and the government imposes restrictive conditions on the registration and operation of non-governmental organizations. The few local activists who work on human rights-related issues often face intimidation, harassment, and reprisals. Wealth acquisition. Forbes magazine has said that Obiang, with a net worth of $600 million, is one of the world's wealthiest heads of state. In 2003, Obiang told his citizenry that he felt compelled to take full control of the national treasury in order to prevent civil servants from being tempted to engage in corrupt practices. Obiang then deposited more than $500,000 into more than 60 accounts controlled by himself and his family at Riggs Bank in Washington, D.C. leading a U.S. federal court to fine the bank $16 million for allowing him to do so. A United States Senate investigation in 2004 found that the Washington-based Riggs Bank had taken $300 million in payments on behalf of Obiang from ExxonMobil and Hess Corporation. Beginning in 2007, Obiang and several other African state leaders came under investigation for corruption and fraudulent use of funds. He was suspected of using public funds to finance private mansions and other luxuries for both himself and his family. He and his son in particular owned several properties and supercars in France. Several complaints were also filed in U.S. courts against Obiang's son. Attorneys stressed that the funds appropriated by the Obiangs were taken quite legally under Equatorial Guinean laws, even though those laws might not agree with international standards. The U.S. Department of Justice alleged that Obiang and his son had appropriated hundreds of millions of dollars through corruption. In 2011 and early 2012, many assets were seized from Obiang and his son by the French and American governments, including mansions, wine collections, and supercars. The United States, France, and Spain have all investigated the Obiang family's use of public funds, and the corruption investigation is still ongoing. Obiang, his cabinet, and his family allegedly have received billions in undisclosed oil revenue each year from the nation's oil production. Marathon Oil purchased land from Abayak, Obiang's personal investment vehicle, for more than $2 million, and in June 2004, the sale was pending, but Marathon had already made a $611,000 first payment with a check made out to Obiang. Marathon also was involved in a joint venture to operate 2 gas plants in Geocam, a quasi-state firm in which Abayak controlled a 75% stake. Although the cabinet has made moderate increases to social spending, these remain far overshadowed by the spending on, for instance, presidential palaces. In addition, the Obiang administration has been characterized by harassment of dissenters and foreign officials seeking to report on conditions. The U.S. Justice Department has alleged that Obiang's son also extorted funds from lumber and construction companies by inflating contractor payments by as much as 50%, then funneled the funds into a private account for his own use. Obiang and his cabinet have defended Kiki, as the son is known, whom Obiang favors to become the next president. Lawyers uphold his innocence in both U.S. and French courts, saying he received the funds legally through legitimate business enterprises. Shortly after the emergence of these allegations, Obiang named his son Equatorial Guinea's deputy permanent delegate to UNESCO, possibly giving him diplomatic immunity from prosecution. Obiang has created an independent audit task force to review the expenditures and financials of public figures in the government, screen for corruption, and increase financial transparency. The head of his task force, however, was appointed by Obiang himself. A 2010 article published in Forbes magazine suggested that Obiang gathered roughly $700 million of the country's wealth in U.S. bank accounts. There you have it, explorers. That was an in-depth look into Africa's current longest-serving president. Thanks for watching this video, and if you did enjoy this video, do well to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.